Welcome to another dojo topic. I love this topic. Today we spoke about words. Have you ever really thought about the words you use and the vibrational frequency they have? If not, or if so, depending, that might be why you attracted today's video. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen with you and walk you through the topic that we described and discussed and had a conversation around in today's dojo. Again, you're welcome to join us live if you like, and if you're not able to, I'm so happy that you connected here and attracted this video. So welcome to the dojo. It's a place to live happy, even when the world looks like it's falling apart. And just a reminder before we begin, nothing shared here is meant to become a rule, belief, or teaching you must follow. You are always invited to take what resonates and release anything that doesn't, because your inner wisdom is the final authority. So, last week our topic was on the belief that creates the search for more, right? More knowledge, more money, more health, more whatever. And that continual search that makes it feel like, oh, just these things are never ending. So if you weren't able to join us live last week, or you've not yet seen the video, I will make sure to put a link to that video at the end of this video. So let's think about this. What are you speaking into existence? I put a little flow chart, I guess, here. Every word spoken is an invitation. And if you think about this ribbon that I have in the picture, the ribbon follows your attention. So whatever your attention is on, that's where your energy flows. And where your energy flows, states of being arise. And from those states, we experience life. Now, here's the thing. I love this saying. And when I first got it, I mean, when I really got it and understood it, I was like smacking my head going, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. So think about this. Circumstances don't matter. State of being matters. And if you are watching this video, it's a pretty good chance that you understand what I'm talking about when I say matters. I'm not talking about matters and makes a difference. I'm talking about matters as in manifestation, comes to fruition, creates form. So when you really get that statement, you realize that your state of being is so important. But so many of us walk through life day to day, not really paying attention to our state of being. We might wake up and be in a grumpy mood, or I don't know, hit our shin on the coffee table and it just kind of spiraled down from there. And we don't even realize that it created a very constricted state of being that is following us around all day long. So when you think about this ribbon, it's kind of a great visual because it's it's just a fun way to go, where is my attention flowing? Is it flowing towards the time I hit my knee on the coffee table, or is it flowing towards love and abundance, or is it flowing to what I don't want to do at work today? Where is it flowing? So your words play a great part in this. And the question we want to ask ourselves is, where are your words directing the ribbon? Hmm. Because today we're talking about words. So what is a word? Words are symbols, sounds, forms arising within the infinite field of awareness, vibrations moving through the air. By themselves, they have no inherent meaning. Meaning arises when attention engages with them, which is when words tend to become invitations. Every word spoken can be an invitation toward fear, or an invitation toward gratitude, resentment, or possibility. Words invite attention to do something, to someone. or to somewhere. For centuries, people have noticed a connection between words and creation. Some call it spelling, while some traditions refer to words as casting spells, not because words possess magical powers, but because repeated language can mesmerize attention into believing a particular story. Now, if you want a great example of that, let's think of um, Open Sesame. What does your mind automatically go to with that? You think of that story about Alibaba and the 40 thieves, right? Opening the cave. So words really can create an image, a story. And if I were to say to you, turtle, right away you bring up an image of a turtle. But if I were to say to you, flamboozle, because it's a word I just made up, um, your mind doesn't know what to do with it, right? It's like, huh? What? And then it tries to put it into a category. And a word repeated often enough can begin to feel like the truth. Take in point that Alibaba and the 40 Thieves, Open Sesame, right? You've heard that story over and over and over. So when we say open sesame, we know it's a magic word. Any identity repeated often enough can create the appearance of a separate self. The spell is not the word. The spell is in the unconscious attention we give it. Words are not powerful because they're magical. Words are powerful because they influence where attention rests. And where attention rests, energy flows. For centuries, people have connected spelling with casting spells, and there's wisdom hidden in that observation, but the spell is not the word itself. The spell is in the state of being created when attention rests on the meaning assigned to the word. Consider the word fat. If attention encounters that word through a story of inadequacy, shame, comparison, or fear, a state of contraction may arise. Yet the same word used to describe a wallet full of money may create a state of abundance, excitement, or relief. The word hasn't changed. The letters haven't changed. The sound hasn't changed. The only change is the meaning assigned to it and the state of being it creates. The spell is never in the word. The spell is in the identification with the meaning, where it lands within the koshas and the state of being that follows. Not because the koshas are wrong, not because they need to be transcended, but because attention has temporarily forgotten its source. The emotional body reacts, the mental body interprets, the physical body activates, a state of being occurs, a form appears. Meanwhile, awareness remains exactly as it always is, untouched, whole, free. What you are is neither the word, the meaning, nor the state of being. What you are is the awareness in which all three appear and disappear. Now, before we continue, let's define two words, awareness and attention. Awareness is what you are, infinite, whole, undivided, everything. Attention is what moves within awareness. Attention is always changing, but awareness always stays the same. Awareness is the only constant. Thoughts, feelings, memories, states of being, identities, and attention, those come and go. Awareness never changes. Everything else is a form arising within awareness. Words are forms that arise as sounds, symbols, vibrations. They're forms appearing within awareness, but by themselves, they have no meaning. Can the word water make you wet? Can the word fire make you burn or feel hot? The word failure is simply a sound. One person feels shame, One feels motivation, and yet another feels nothing. The word does not contain meaning. Meaning was assigned through the personal narrative. Every word and every word spoken can be an invitation toward fear, gratitude, resentment, or possibility. Words invite attention to something, someone, or somewhere. Notice that I've said that twice in this topic because that's really a really important distinction to know where your attention is flowing. Now, we talked about this at the beginning, right? Imagine your words as a purple ribbon that represents your energy. Every word spoken is an invitation. The ribbon follows attention, and where attention goes, energy flows. Where energy flows, forms arise. Every complaint, every blessing, every judgment, every declaration is directing the ribbon somewhere. A thought is just a thought. A memory is just a memory. A fear is just a fear. A story, just a story. Attention gives them momentum. Without attention, they pass like clouds. Some thoughts feel real because the mind mistakes familiarity with truth. What is repeatedly attended to begins to feel real, not because it's true, because it's been rehearsed, repeated, energized through words, especially words that create personalization. And those words are I, me, my, and mine. So when you're in the habit or the pattern of saying, I'm having a bad day, I can't figure this out, I wish I had more money, I'm not sure why my body is doing what it's doing, you're personalizing it. And when you're personalizing it with your words, you're giving permission to the demiurge to use your energy as it will. You're just giving this carte blanche. It's like writing a blank check to the universe and saying, okay, I'm personalizing this energy. Do with it what you will. So it's very, very helpful to pay attention to your words, how you're using them, and the words that you're choosing. If you pay attention to how often you say the words I, me, my, and mine, and the context in which you use those words, you'll be quite surprised at the permission that you're giving to the universe, at the energy that you're saying, I give my permission for the demiurge to use my energy in this way. It's really telling when you understand what you're putting into action, what you're putting into play. Listen carefully to your language. The words you use will reveal where attention is resting. I never have enough. I'm overwhelmed. Nobody understands me. I have to do everything myself. These statements are clues. They reveal where attention is resting by using personal language. When attention repeatedly resists and rests on words or a story, an identity begins to form, creating the appearance of a separate self. So we all know, most people know that the word of God, the name of God is I am. I am is the name for God. But we're so used to using the words I am to depict or describe or give reference to the little I, meaning the separate self, the feeling, the belief in the separate self, what some would call the ego self. So it's very important to know your attention, your intention when you're using the words I am, because there is no separate self. You are the infinite, omniscient awareness itself, infinite being, effortless awareness. We are all that. It's when we identify with the separate self through words that we create so much suffering for ourselves. The one who struggles, the one who lacks, the one who's been hurt, the one who carries the burden alone. The story begins to feel personal, and then the separate self seems to appear. The goal is not to eliminate thoughts. The goal is not positive thinking. The goal is not controlling the mind because the words in the story are not the problem. They are an invitation to notice what is being energized by the words creating the story. Words influence what we notice, what we focus on, what meaning we assign to them, how we feel, and how we relate to the experience. Words can cultivate states of being. Remember, circumstances don't matter. Only state of being matters. I highly suggest you write that down somewhere where you'll see it often enough. Even if you're scratching your head right now and it doesn't make sense to you and you're like, what the heck is she talking about? Because I promise you, when it lands, when it finally makes sense, when it sinks in, you'll be like, oh, just like I said that I did. Just like when it really finally landed on me and I'm like, oh, oh my gosh. I mean, it just seemed like everything changed when I understood that with everything within me. When you prioritize your sovereignty, sovereignty is not controlling life, not controlling thoughts, not controlling circumstances. Sovereignty is you remembering what you are while consciously directing attention through wisdom and love. And when you're prioritizing your sovereignty, imagine, just stop for a minute and ask yourself, what does that mean? Prioritizing my sovereignty. What do those words mean? How do they land on you? Where do you feel them in the body? Does it bring a sensation, a feeling of joy, bliss, happiness, excitement? Maybe right now it brings confusion, frustration, trying to figure it out. But the more you try to figure this out, the more elusive it seems because the mind can't figure out from the mind. The mind can't heal the mind. So, this is your invitation to sit back, relax, just pay attention to how these words are landing on you. What is the message doing for you? How is it coming through you? What do you feel through all of this? How are these words impacting you? How are the forms arising within you? Remember, words are simply forms arising within awareness. Are they arising and indicating bliss, happiness? Are you even observing them, paying attention to them? Now that we've established that words reveal where attention is resting, what do your words reveal about your relationship with yourself and commitment to prioritizing your sovereignty? Because I'll tell you, when I really understood this as well, it's like, whoa, prioritizing my sovereignty. So there are a lot of people who will just not feel worthy to even think that sentence, to even say that sentence to themselves. They might be thinking, who am I to think that I could be the sovereign being, that I could be so important, that I even deserve to prioritize my sovereignty? But honestly, who are you not to? Beneath every complaint, every judgment, every resentment, every fear, and every declaration is a deeper question. Where am I withholding love from myself? And these words are so impactful because when you think about this, when you're feeling like a contraction, or you're accepting invitations that you would prefer to decline, think about that for a minute. If you ask yourself this simple question, whenever you're feeling anything other than how you prefer to feel. Just ask yourself, where am I withholding love from myself? It might be in the words you're using. It might be in the people you're hanging around. It might be in the food that you're eating. When you ask yourself this and open yourself up to the answer, you'll feel this amazing response because everything is happening within awareness. Just feel that. Sit and feel that. Sit with it. It's an amazing sensation. Even the word amazing doesn't describe it fully, right? And there again, when we get caught up with words, we want to describe something so fantastical that sometimes we want to make up words just so that it depicts how we're really feeling happy, joyful, blissful. Words don't reveal what you are. They reveal where your attention is resting. What you are has never been contained by a word, a thought, a memory, an identity, or a story. So there's no need to go searching for, oh, why did I say this? And oh, I wish I'd kept my mouth shut when that was happening. That's withholding love for yourself. Anytime you are judging yourself or judging another person or judging a circumstance, you are withholding love for yourself. You are complete exactly the way you are. Now, can you see how nothing is being done to you because everything is moving through you? Let's just take a look at these words again. Awareness, the field in which everything appears. But how often do we use that word awareness and maybe not even really think about the bigger picture here? Because there's awareness for breast cancer, there's awareness for domestic violence, there's awareness, and that word being used in that way is meaning calling attention to, pay attention to. So, when you're saying that you have an awareness towards something, you want to make sure that when you're using it in that context, that you are using it so that it describes something you prefer, describing a solution, awareness to an answer, awareness to love. Make sure that how you're using the word is really filling you up and prioritizing your sovereignty. Because words, they're just forms appearing within awareness. And in this case, we're using the word awareness as infinite being, God, source, intelligence, whatever your name for it is. And meaning are forms assigned through a personal narrative. Remember, we went back and we used the word fat. So depending on what pops into the mind automatically when you hear the word fat, that often will depict your state of being. And we know what happens, right? State of being. Oh, that's how you're feeling in any given moment. What are the words doing for you? How are they creating your state of being? And then, of course, the word attention is energy moving toward the meaning that's been assigned. So it's really, really helpful for you to know, discern, be conscious of the words you use and the definition that you're giving them. Remember, every word spoken is an invitation. Think about that ribbon. Think about that purple ribbon and just say to yourself, oh, where is my purple ribbon flowing? Is it flowing towards, I don't know, something dark, something that I don't really want to be placing my attention on? Or is it flowing towards love and light? You are the one holding all the power. Where are you directing your words? Where is the ribbon going? Are you even paying attention to any of this? I hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as I enjoyed having it come through me to share the message. Thank you so much for joining us. The dojo is a place for conversation, reflection, and expansion. And there's a reason you attracted this video. So if you feel the pull, consider joining us live, if you will. Have you noticed anything different about the words? Is it consciously sitting differently with you now? Like, whoa, yeah, I never really thought of that. One of the words, two words that I caution people about is eager and what's the other eager and um oh, hold on, it's coming to me. Anxious. Eager and anxious. People use those words interchangeably, but they don't mean the same thing. And we don't even realize the vibrational frequency or weight that those words hold. So if you say, I'm anxious to go to the movies, I would say, well, if going to the movies makes you anxious, shouldn't you not go? Because the word you're really searching for is eager. I'm eager to go to the movies. Now, what does that say? That's happiness, excitement. Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to going to the movies. So pay attention there because a lot, I hear it. I hear it so often. And when I'm working with people, I often hear them interchange those words. And so I point it out to them. Okay, now I just want to ask you a question. You just said the word eager. But, or excuse me, you just said the word anxious. Do you mean anxious or do you mean eager? And they stop and they think about it and they're like, whoa, yeah, I never really thought about that. So that's just two words, two more words right there that you can use when you think about how you're using your words, how they're impacting you, the weight that they carry, and how they are creating or impacting your state of being. If you want any kind of support with this work, visit me at masteringyourbeliefs.com. In the meantime, this is Nancy Muller, the one and only Life Sensei, saying ciao for now.